I was born in Waurika, moved to Terrell for the first 8 years of my life. My dad was a watermelon, cantaloupe, and peanut grower there, and we farmed places where we could grow watermelons all over this county, it seemed. And I guess one of the things I remember about those days is World War II was really getting rolling, and my dad had to go in and looked like he was going to have to go to the service. And they asked him, said, Lebo, would you increase your peanut acreage if you don't go? And he said, yeah, what do you need? They said, well, we need peanuts for the oil and for the peanuts. And if you'll double that acreage, we don't want you to go to the war. And so our family was really happy about that. 1947, Dad bought a farm south of Waurika, and we moved here. Found several places that could still grow watermelons and cantaloupe, but along with cotton, corn, and the like. Sharon, my wife, her folks was Elmer and Doris Carter, northwest of town. But Elbert, many people will remember, was the Maytag man here in town. In fact, he owned the store where the city hall is now, and was a great mentor for me as well as father-in-law. And anyhow, we were farming part of his land, and that's when I met Sharon and decided that's who I wanted to marry sometime along. And 2 years later, we did it. Well, I went to school at Cameron, got a 2-year degree there. I went to Oklahoma State, got a master's there, worked for the university running a research station for 3 years in the early 60s. And I was doing my master's degree at the time, and they asked me to run that research station. I said, well, I'm doing my master's. Those guys said, Gary, we'll take care of that. We'll have you write scientific papers and do various projects, and we'll get you that master's degree. So it took 3 years, but it was a great deal of fun at the time running a grass seed research station. And then in 1965, I got an opportunity to become a plant breeder with a company in western Kansas. Moved there to run a research station and wound up taking care of all the seed production. We had about 6,500 acres of seed production that I cared for over a 3-state area there, and enjoyed that greatly. We bought a couple of companies then in the late 60s, and Sharon and I were invited to move to a little town of Belmont, Iowa, where I would become a corn breeder, and got to do a lot of agronomic work and the like with people all over the Midwest, and thoroughly enjoyed that. Had a vice president from Houston that was the company that had done that, and sales were falling in the South. And he said, Gary, we want to move you back to Plainview, Texas. And I said, well, I've got some hybrids here that we're just about to get developed, and I'd really like to see them through. He said, we really need you in Plainview, Texas. And I said, well, and we had changed our name in that time. And I said, if you'll let me bring the old name of Paymaster Seeds back, then I'll go. He said, you can do any damn thing you want to, just get the sales up. And I guess that's a change in what I was doing in my career. I became a sales manager, and that was a great deal of fun. Put together a group of salespeople that just did wonders, and we doubled sales in less than 8 years, and then another big company bought us and made me general manager of the southern U.S., and enjoyed that a great deal. And then finally I decided I needed to do something different and start my own business, and resigned, and we moved to Houston, Texas. I started a rice seed business for the Prince of Liechtenstein. Wrote a business plan. He came over and listened to my business plan, and I thought I'd ask for a lot of money. But the only question he had for me was, are you sure that's enough money? Now, I'd never worked for anyone that was their only question, was whether he gave me enough money or not. It was a lot of fun, but it was in areas that I just didn't enjoy quite as much as I did or had in the corn and sorghum business. So after 2 years, I quit that business, even though it's still operating now, still using my business plan, and moved to Lincoln, Nebraska, and I took over as CEO of a regional seed company that was near bankruptcy, and needed sales going up again. And again, I put together a really good group of salespeople and production people, and we did that in about 8 years. And I have to admit that I enjoyed being a sales manager more than I did being a CEO, and left that company and went back to doing the things that I really thought was the thing that should be doing. And we went to Columbia for me to be president of a genetics biotech company. And unfortunately, about 1.5 years after we moved there, they took bankruptcy, a California company. And we looked at a lot of different things to do and decided, well, we liked it there. And so we bought a business, and then we built it to be one of the top 5 stores in Columbia, the 120,000 population city. And Sharon, my wife, did that. I paid the bills, but she did the thing that brought all the people in. And one year, a young lady walked in the store, hadn't been in before, and she threw up her hands and said, "I never realized we had a store like this in Columbia." And that really made me feel good that Sharon had done that. And so we really enjoyed having so many people. And we learned that we could, if you've got a store that people like, they'll come from a long way around. And we see that kind of working in Waurika. We can build Waurika back even better than what it is right now, and it's making some good progress. That we've got a little town that can grow back. I think we've got things going in Waurika that just really look good. Main Street's just fantastic. People like to come here and see this town. Veterans Park just looks great, and there's so many things, so many activities we have during the year that a lot of people are gathering to watch whatever it is, and that's a feel-good kind of thing, and one I think we'll be able to attract people to be here. But at any rate, our decision then finally, I have to say also that the morning Sharon turned 73, I walked in the living room with a cup of coffee, and she looked at me and she said, "It is time." And I knew it was. I put our business up for sale that afternoon, and we got it sold, got the house sold in December of 2017, and got moved down here. And it's become home since then, and we're enjoying it. We're enjoying being involved in what's happening with Waurika, the things that we're trying to get done, and bringing businesses into town, and trying to make the city look better and better to retirees, millennials that might want to live in a small town rather than a large town. And to me, there's just a lot of future in what we can do. Other small retail businesses, I think we can get to the point that we need more of those. And I just think we've got a fine little town, and we've got a huge group of people that are working hard to make that happen too. So I'm Gary Duncan. I'm running for the City Commission, seat 4 in fact, and would really appreciate your vote.